everyone, it's Nina. Today's class is all about opening up the shoulders and the chest. So if anyone sits at a desk all day and tends to have really rounded shoulders, or you're really looking to improve your posture and just feel more open in the upper body, we're going to really work on opening all of those up in class today. And all you're going to need are 1 or 2 blocks, or if you don't have them at all, that's completely fine. You can use a pillow or something. We're only going to use them for the final posture in class today, so they're optional. So to get started, just come onto your hands and your knees. We're going to start off by opening up the wrists. So this can be a free-for-all movement here. So you're just going to start to move forward and back, starting to feel that deep stretch in your wrists. When I say free-for-all movement, it's going to turn into one. So starting with this, just moving forward and back, and then move your hands so your fingertips are pointing out to the sides, and then just move from side to side. And then turn your fingertips to face you. You can bring your hands a little bit closer if you need to, and then just rock forward and back. We don't really think about our wrists or forearms too much, but they tend to get really tight, especially if you're like sitting at a computer and you're using your mouse pad, or you're using a mouse all day and you're clicking and you're using all of these muscles in your forearms and you don't even realize how tight they get. So this is a really good stretch in order to open up the forearms and the hands. All right, so turn the fingertips to face you with the palms facing up, and just begin to clench the fists here. Bring the fingers in and out. Again, you can bring the hands in a little bit closer if that's too intense for you. And then from here, just spend the next few moments going back into any of those wrist stretches, maybe turning your hands around, taking some hip circles. Here's the free-for-all movement that I was talking about. So anything that feels good for you. And then just come back to a neutral spine. We'll do a couple of shoulder shrugs here. So drop the chest down, shrug the shoulders down, relax the head and the neck, and then push away from the ground around through the upper back. Pull the shoulder blades apart, and then shrug down. Just do this a few times. And start to build up some of that synovial fluid in the shoulder joints. And then from here, come back into your neutral spine, and then shrug the shoulders down. And all we're going to do is take circles in one direction. So you're dropping the shoulders down, lifting up, and circling back. And then reverse directions, bringing forward if you're going back, or maybe it was the opposite direction. I always feel kind of awkward when I do this because I'm like, I don't feel like I'm doing it right. But the whole point of this here is to just start to create a little bit more mobility in the shoulder joint. So release some of that stiffness, and then just begin to kind of bounce from side to side. Bending one arm, keeping the other straight, shrugging the shoulders. Good. All right, so this next posture that we're gonna go into, you're gonna come onto your butt, and you're gonna bring your hands behind you. So you can pick which way you want your fingertips to be facing. Maybe they're facing your heels, maybe they're facing the wall behind you. We're gonna go into this twice, so if you wanna do it once each way, you can do that as well. So bend your knees, take your feet about hip distance apart, and bring your hands behind you. You're gonna lift your hips up, and then begin to shift your hips forward towards your heels, and begin to feel that stretch in the front of your shoulders. And just relax your head and your neck back. And then start to push the hips back. Coming into this reverse tabletop, push your hips up. Relax your head and neck. And then lower the hips down. So you can keep your hands in the same position, or if you'd like to push your hand or bring your fingertips to face forward for a different stretch, you can do that as well. So push your hips up, shift your hips forward. And just feel that stretch in the shoulders. And then push the hips up and back, coming into your reverse tabletop. And lower the hips all the way down to the ground. Next pose we're going to go into is puppy pose. So we'll be here for a hot second. So come on to your hands and your knees. You're going to keep your hips in line with your knees this whole time. So all you're going to do is bring the hands forward. The goal here is to try to drop the chest to touch the ground. Maybe your forehead just meets, maybe your nose, maybe your chin. So find your variation. We'll be here for about 2 minutes. If you want something more intense, you can come up onto your fingertips. And slowly start to make your way out of puppy pose. And just lower all the way down onto your belly, coming into Sphinx pose. So bringing your elbows in line with your shoulders. The goal here is to just energetically pull the elbows back, almost like you're trying to pull your chest forward through your arms. So you should feel a very gentle stretch here in the front of the belly. We'll just be here for a few breaths before we begin to really sink down and shrug the shoulders and give our bodies and our necks a little bit of a rest here. So just keep your gaze forward. And then slowly begin to shrug the shoulders down to the ground, or not to the ground, but as low as you can go. And then relax your head and your neck. And we'll be here for about a minute. So just relax as much as you can and feel that stretch in the back of the neck, down the spine. Slowly begin to come up. All you're going to do We're just gonna quickly transition by bringing our left arm forward and just threading that right arm underneath with the palm facing up. You can place your chin on your shoulder here and just relax. We'll be here for about a minute or two on each side. Slowly start to come up and just switch sides. Extend the right arm forward and the left arm thread underneath, the palm facing up, placing your chin on your shoulder or maybe your head on the ground. So whichever feels most comfortable for you. Slowly begin to make your way out. And we're going to come into our Savasana pose. So this is where you may need your blocks. You can place one just at where your shoulder blades are, the base of your shoulder blades, and then use the other block to place your head on. If you don't have blocks, that's fine. You can just lay in Shavasana, or maybe you just use a pillow on your back and your head. So find whatever you have at home, it works. You can also play around with the height of these blocks. You can put it on a lower height or a higher height, just depending on how much you want to open up through the chest. And then bring your arms out to the sides. We'll be here for about 2 minutes. Slowly start to come back into your body. Moving your fingers and toes and wrists and ankles. Reaching your arms over your head. And slowly come all the way up to a seated position. We'll end with a shoulder stretch. So just in your seated position, take your hands behind your head and bring your elbows together and just allow your chin to drop down to your chest. And from here, just gently rock the head from side to side. Take your left hand down to the ground, reach your right arm up and over to your left. And then drop the right hand down, lift the left arm up and over to your right. And come back to center. You're gonna bend this left arm behind your back. And your left hand is gonna grab just above or below your right elbow. And then from here, you're just gonna drop your head over to your left shoulder. And then start to roll gently forward and back. And you should feel these nice deep stretches in the front and side of your neck. And switch sides, bring the right arm behind you, reach for that elbow. Drop your head over to your right shoulder. Slowly bring it forward and back. And come back to center. Bring your hands to your heart. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this shoulder and chest opener yoga class. I hope you feel a little bit more open, a little bit like you can sit up a little bit straighter and you're not just hunched over so much. And this gives you a little bit more space to breathe a little bit deeper as well as you go about your day. So thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you guys on the mat. Bye. I feel like I need to take a nap now. That was